Hey everyone! Today, I will tell you about the typing of this firmware. So-called printer firmware. It is also the firmware that was noisy a while ago. Well, just to clarify, this video is not targeted at any firmware author or platform, and just by grabbing these responses, let's simply reverse engineer the various firmware on the market. There's some good and some bad. Well, the firmware market is a mixed bag right now. There are not many powerful authors. Most of them are gimmicks. It's like, this is what I call printer firmware. Let me tell you about it today. This printer firmware. What about this printer firmware from a while ago? What is printer firmware? It's not actually an analog printer. Some people will be deceived by unscrupulous authors. Others say it's an analog printer. And he believed it? But it's not true. If you want the printer, it doesn't have a PCI interface. How could it possibly be simulated? What is the printer firmware mentioned now? It's just a serial port card for a printer. There are two scenarios here. One is the most common parallel port card, like the one I show in my video. This is a parallel port card. This is the simplest. I'll tell you later. Would say why this thing is simpler. The other is a serial port card is more because difficult. It requires an I/O. A correct response. There are not many authors on the market really make this kind of serial port card. Okay. The grabbing of this response for this I/O is more difficult. So a lot of string estimates. It's in this COM port here. Is this the port? It has an exclamation point. In fact, most of them will not make this serial port card. Yeah, how? Now briefly explain how to do it. Is this printer firmware real? It's very simple. The first step, just configure the I/O space correctly. The configuration space of this is from the IP core. This is very simple. Can you configure it in the way of serial CFG? This is more basic. I believe there is no need to say too much here. Red masks are simple. What if there are some students who have no foundation? Then you can make a separate video later. Tell me about it. Because this video is mainly about printer parts. It will not be expanded separately. Let's talk about this parallel card. Why did you say earlier that this parallel card is simple? That is, it doesn't need its I/O space. Get the right response. That is to say, it corresponds to the bug response. Or say no, it's all okay. This defaults to CCCC. So I gave the word alone. In fact, you can give this separately. It doesn't matter if you give a C or a 0 or something. It doesn't matter. Okay. Or U. If you look here, you can directly return to N. It doesn't matter if you reply directly. Then you can see inside the CFG on his side. You need to fill in this correctly elsewhere. This address of this bar. But you don't really need to change it here. It doesn't matter what you like to fill in because we ended up giving him a none. Go back to 0 or say return an arbitrary value. Then I look at this gun card. It's actually just 3 L sticks. 8 180 there are sticks. 3 more L sticks. Well, the only thing that needs to be done here is to fill in the correct size of this L8. That's it. Then into this 8 control. Let configure the next 3 seconds, or you can give it to him here. You pull him here. It's all the same. You see, this is 123. It's all the same. Then you don't need to reply anything. Any word will do. You can also return maybe a 0. Return a random value it's all or something. So that's what I call this printer. Is it very simple to pass the test? So here's just one. The simplest component to make a response. To tell everyone what a gimmick is. What is a fake? I hope you are not deceived by this. What about the next video? To update. Update. The serial port object to which this LABAR responds correctly. Is a real. Requires a responsive part of the exactly LABAR. Are you supposed to do? It will be updated later depending on the firmware situation. Like that, MESIX. And networking firmware. More traffic to these things? Explain. All of the above this firmware. I bought it at my own expense. Then reverse it by grabbing this tyrant cloud. Can you all follow me to continue learning? That's it for today.